Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video where I'm going to talk about a newly shown Hot Toys product, and this time we have Shang-Chi from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So very excited. They did show two figures from this movie right off the bat. Based on the way that they released them and from what I've seen of the movie, I'm pretty confident these will probably be the only figures we'll get from the movie, unfortunately, from Hot Toys. But nonetheless, just very excited to get them. I've been very much anticipating their reveal, and can't wait for the movie. Just so you're aware, at the time of recording this, I haven't seen the movie yet. It comes out in the US tomorrow night, and that's when I have my tickets. So I'll be seeing it in about 24 hours here. But nonetheless, just super excited for the movie. So, you know, when I talk about some stuff, accessory-wise especially, I haven't seen the movie yet, so not 100% sure on things. But just talking about the figure, I think this figure looks excellent. I'll be making a separate video for Wenwu / the Mandarin. I'll be making a complete, separate video just for that figure. I thought about combining them, but I think there's enough to talk about individually that I wanted to split it up. But so just be discussing Shang-Chi in this video. Going over some of the pictures here, this looks like an excellent figure. Now, it's rather simplistic in its costume design, and that's the case not just for Hot Toys, but just the movie in general. Costume from the waist up, it is rather, like an MCU costume. It's got a lot of detail. It's got that significant texture in it as well. But from the lower half, pants and shoes and everything, very basic, which lends for great articulation, which is awesome. But overall, the costume itself, the fabric, I think it looks quite good. The top section, the shirt area, is a rubber, but it's a rubber that it looks very flexible from what I've seen. It also does maintain creases though, so this is a stronger material, unlike your Spider-Man where it'll have a crease but then it'll unfold. With this, they have creases and they're kind of large creases, if you can see, especially because obviously like right here, of course there's gonna be some creases. He's got a strong bent elbow, but right here there's not a whole lot going on in the torso in this shot, and it's still a little wobbly. And I've also noticed it on display at Hot Toys' secret base. It also has that type of look too. So that's a little... I think that it's a material that'll be very good for poses, but it doesn't spring back as much as you'd like it to. But it seems strong, though. It seems thick, so I believe that it would, still stand the test of time, but it might have some issues just looking very clean and very sharp. As you can see, he comes with this weapon here. Two versions of the weapon. You've got one like this, just plain, and then one where the edges are lit up, which I think is very cool. Obviously, with martial arts being a big part of the fighting style of this film, poses are really important, and as you can see with some of the shots where he's actually fighting his father, the posing looks excellent. The articulation looks really solid, which is great. Overall, though, really liking the overall design. I think that the shirt section has a lot of detail in it. I think it looks great. Where the sleeves stop, I think is perfect. And also, as you can see from particularly shots where he has a double bend and he's like really working the elbow joint, you can roll up the sleeves a little higher to give a little bit more play there for the joint and to also not stress the suit, which is very cool. And then when it comes to his pants look incredibly articulated or incredibly non-hindering, which is awesome. So the material that they use there looks like it's very flexible, looks like there's some room there to play, so you can get him in stances like this, which are pretty incredible for Hot Toys. Hot Toys, they have articulation, and their articulation's decent, but it's never fantastic. You have to get a figure just with some super baggy clothes to be great. This, not super baggy, it's not skin tight, but they're tighter, but he's still maintaining and getting those really extensive poses, which I think is really awesome. Face sculpt wise, I think this is a fantastic sculpt. Of the two sculpts that they, with the Shang-Chi and then his father, I think that Shang-Chi has the much better face sculpt. I think that it's a really perfect fit for the actor. Even looking at comparison shots, it looks super solid. I'm very impressed with the face sculpt, and it's one of those kind of spot-on sculpts, which is great. You don't get that too often nowadays, I feel, or just in general. It's hard to get it spot-on, so to get one that I would really consider spot-on is pretty special, which is great. Look at that articulation. So good. Loving it. I think this is going to be a really fun figure because of that articulation, too. And the character himself, you know, he's got a lot of expressive and very unique fighting stances and poses, so you can really express that with the articulation, which is going to be a lot of fun. Head sculpt is fantastic. Now, you know, it's a little dull as far as expression-wise. That's something that's pretty common with Hot Toys, though. I maybe would want... It's hard because although I haven't seen the movie, he seems like he's going to be a fun character. I know the actor from a comedy standpoint. He does a sitcom that I watch, Kim's Convenience, and he's great in that, but he's obviously playing a more comedic role. So, and I feel like certainly in shots at the beginning when he's in San Francisco, he seems to have a bit more of a comedic side. You want the serious head sculpt for fight poses, but also it looks a little dull where it doesn't even look quite right fight pose wise. So I'd almost love a head sculpt that was like this, but maybe had a little bit of a smirk, and then like an angry, intense head sculpt. This one, it's fine for whether he's just standing there or fighting, but it's not great on either, to be honest, expression-wise. The sculpt itself is fantastic. So yeah, I would have liked a little bit of some expression going on there. Some cool, fun hand sculpts, too. Overall, though, just looking great, standing or in a really extensive pose. You can really do it all. Accessory-wise, obviously, as you can see, the majority of his accessories are hidden. I think it's very obvious what those accessories are, though, even without having seen the movie. But just talking quickly about the accessories that we do know he comes with. The two staffs, like I mentioned, one that's kind of like energized, one that's kind of off. He has a necklace, which I don't know much about the necklace. I know that they're trying to get it from him on the bus, though. That's about all I know. So who knows? Maybe that's kind of like his, almost like the ring in Black Panther. It's kind of his item that proves that he's the son, you know, type of thing. Hands that are very unique, which is great. Obviously, you have a couple of just your standard hands, but then a lot of very expressive, very cool hands meant for those martial art, you know, style poses, which is awesome. And then a standard base, which I think looks quite nice. It looks like it's got a flight pole. I really wish that they would do bases like, no matter the character, a base that has a flight pole and a base that has, or excuse me, so just one base, but also coming with a flight pole and just a standard cradle. I'm not a fan of when they do, because this is a figure that, you know, if you have him in a jumping pose, like the flight stand is awesome, but if you just want him to stand there in a cool pose, you can't really use the flight stand, and they don't give you a cradle, which is very annoying. And before I go over what I predict to be all the additional accessories, let's just go over some of the details of the release. So it's on pre-order, $250, same price as his father, which I think is good because they're both very comparable figures. But overall, I think that's a decent price. You know, lately, especially with The Mandalorian, just about every figure had been like $280, like flat. That's kind of the new standard. So this, I think, is a solid price. You know, like Taskmaster was $250, but didn't come with a head sculpt. So I thought maybe that was, you know, kind of why it was a little less. So to get this figure that is a, you know, figure with a bunch of accessories, a full-on head sculpt, obviously 100% new in every way, I think that's a really solid price. So I'm pretty happy about the $250 price point on him. What I'm not happy with is the ship date. We've got January to March, so first quarter of 2023. Might as well be 2030 though. It's so far out. You know, a year is okay, and a year is kind of what I think the release should be. So to have it so much extensively further than that, we're looking at a solid year and a half, which is definitely disappointing and way past the movie's release. Being for the fact that there's, you know, the pandemic and the delays in the movies and everything, you'd think that they could start working on these a little bit more so that at least it's just a year out, but instead we had the full year and a half. So disappointing in the release date, unfortunately, but price-wise, I'm pretty happy with. So to go over some of those accessories here and what we can expect. So accessory-wise, we've got 4 sections for accessories. Moving over to his fascia here. father, if you're Austin Power reference there. But I'm sure that some of the accessories will be these. So this is one that he'll definitely come with because, again, no spoilers because I haven't seen the movie, so just going based on the trailers here, there's the shot where they are physically fighting over the rings. And it's this exact scene right here where he's holding two rings and then the rings in the middle are all fighting, not knowing who to go to, as the father and the son kind of show their strength, trying to fight the rings away from each other. So he'll obviously come with this. It'll probably be the exact same accessory, but it'll be yellow, because of course when Shang-Chi dons the rings or uses them, it's got yellow energy, while when his father, when Wu does it, it'll be blue. So the only thing that I noticed that's different is that I did see a close-up image of this accessory in person, and the end of it has like a bit of a plug. So I'm assuming that the one that comes with Shang-Chi will have a hole so that you can physically connect them together, so that they hold their form and you're not just like trying to line them up and then they sag or something like that. So that's a definite accessory. Another definite accessory is this, the interchangeable forearms to have the rings. Now that's something that we haven't seen in the trailer yet, but I think it's very obvious that by the end of the movie, Shang-Chi will be the one wearing the rings and not his father. So I'm sure that we'll get interchangeable forearms. Now the other accessories, it could just be straight up this but in yellow and then this but in yellow. I think that this in yellow, that is the case. I think that he'll have that. This though, this like blast effect, if I had to guess, I don't think he's going to come with that. And the reason I say that, and I could be completely wrong too, he could certainly come with that, but the reason that I have a inclination that he might not is that just looks like a bit more of an aggressive thing, just to physically shoot the rings out of your arms so aggressively. That looks a little bit more like a villain power move. So I feel like what the last accessory will be is some variation, like a different form of this, where it's more energy with the rings, but not quite just the straight up blast, or it's something that is an actual spoiler of the movie that, I don't know yet because I haven't seen. So if I had to guess, that's my guess, that he'll come with this, he'll come with this, he'll come with this, and then he'll come with something a little different here instead of just this. I could be completely wrong though. It could literally just be these things, but yellow instead of blue. So we'll have to see though. Overall, I am extremely excited for these figures. I'm a huge villains fan, so Wenwu is a must-have for me, regardless if I dislike him. What's a great example of that too, like just to tell you that no matter what happens in the movie, I'll still want that figure, is that the imposter of him, the Mandarin from Iron Man 3, I saw that movie, was so excited for the Mandarin, was unbelievably disappointed by him, and I still ended up getting the Hot Toy figure. So even if Wenwu turns out to be another drunken actor just pretending to be Shang-Chi's father, I will still buy that figure. Now, as far as Shang-Chi goes, though, I'm not 100% sure yet. I'd be shocked if I don't get him, though. He's, the main character of a new movie that I'm really excited for this movie. If it wasn't for the amazing things that are going to happen in Spider-Man, this would easily be the Marvel movie that I was most looking forward to of the year. So I'm very excited for this. I would be shocked if I don't end up getting this figure, but I'm holding off on pre-ordering it until I see the movie. So I'll probably have this thing pre-ordered though within the week. But there you go, that's my thoughts on this Hot Toys Shang-Chi figure, and stay tuned for my review or my kind of thoughts on the Wenwu figure as well. And thanks so much for watching.